Jimmy, man, give me the status. Tell me we good. Beautiful. It's gonna be an all time of the night. All right. Fire 'em up.
And just like Luda said right there, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be an all-timer. I'm telling you right now, who we have backstage is one of the most awesomest, most phenomenalist, most amazingest people that I know. She is an author. She is a business owner, and she can sing too, y'all. I am talking about my sissy from another Missy, Victoria Francis. We're going to bring her in here in just a second. Welcome back to another episode of the Ballers Report podcast. It has been a minute since we have done this show, but you know how we do it. When we have these important individuals like this, no matter what walk of life they're in, yeah, we bringing them on the Ballers Report pod because that is exactly what they're doing. And in this particular case, Victoria is a college basketball referee. We got a lot of questions for her. I hope y'all sit back and have some fun. We welcome your comments in as well. Again, Willie Epting Jr., of course, the Shakeback Media Group is who the Ballers Report podcast is powered by. And you already know what time it is. You already know what we have to do. This has been a long time coming. So let's go get it.
Right about now, you're about to be possessed by the sounds.
2-6 shit. Yeah, I know what it is, man. You little suckers get to talking, grabbing and walking, strapped to the pong of their jaws and smacking they sleep with the coffins. And they getting greedy like saying, give me
Ooh-wee. It's been such a long time since I played that intro. Welcome to the Ballers Report pod. It's your boy Willie Epting Jr. Holding it down. Man, what is going on out there, everybody? Let's go ahead and bring her in. She is waiting backstage. I've been trying to get her on the show for about 3 years, and we finally linked it up like a tow truck, and there she is in all her glory. Vic, what's up, Victoria?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
You know what? It's another day in the
Another
world.
day in paradise.
Yep.
Another day in paradise. Well, like I said in the intro, you are an author. We're going to get to that here in just a second. Where you are a business owner. We're going to get to that in just a second. You are a college basketball referee. We're going to get to all of that in just a minute. However, I need to tell everybody out there, or I need to thank everybody out there for checking us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, through my Shakeback Media Group, Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, the Mafia Members Podcast YouTube channel, of course, the Mafia Members Twitter handle, and the Twitter page for the Shakeback Media Group as we are rolling towards 15,000 followers on Twitter. Thank you out there for everything that you guys are doing to help support the vision. Also have to tell you guys that this and any other broadcast that we do as a part of the Shakeback Media Group is presented, of course, and powered by the Shakeback Media Group Life Coaching Practice. Our goal is to coach you to be the best you that you have ever met. We are now offering 20% off for clients and for those who desire to become a certified life coach. Contact us for details. You can email me. You can hit me on my DM at Shakeback Media Group on Instagram, or you can email or you can call me at 469-358-5241. Use the code hashtag Shakeback, and we will get you going. All right, Victoria, how are you? Let's get into this. So, I know before we actually get to all of that other stuff, there's one thing I need you to do. I need you to tell us something about Victoria that little to nobody knows anything about. A fun fact, that is.
Wow, something that little to nobody knows. Well, that's kind of hard. Um, because I don't have many secrets, even though my name is Victoria, and this everybody apparently feels like it's full of secrets. Um,
Okay.
a lot of people don't realize how long I've been refereeing. I've been
Okay.
refereeing so long that the first games I refereed, I got paid $7.12 a game.
Not a game. We're talking about not practice. We're talking about a game. Not an hour. We're talking about a game, right?
Well, the games were an hour, so you know how when you do uh AAU basketball or basketball at the rec center, and most people
Mhm.
get paid 25, $30 a game. Yeah, no, I started when it was $7.12 a game.
That makes her an OG, ladies and gentlemen. And she's probably got a lot of wisdom that I'm going to try to pull out of her during this particular conversation. It's not an interview. It's not, this is a conversation between a brother and a sister. And I say that because we are both members of the greatest church this side of heaven. That, of course, is
Woo woo!
Antioch Christian Church, where the honorable doctors, Pastor, I call him NQ, and Tanya McGill are the shepherds of the house. And Victoria is one of the golden tones of the ACC choir ministry or music ministry. So not only is she all the things I've already mentioned, she's also a singer.
So shout out to the Sopranos.
Not the TV show, the voices.
Yes. Yes.
All
Shout
right.
out to all
So
my ACC Sopranos. I love y'all.
yes, and yes, we do that. We do love them. All right. Before we actually get to what we're gonna get to, I want to ask you about your New York Giants. And my first question is, how is it that a gal from Cali is a New York Giants fan?
See, what had happened was uh, I grew up in LA and both teams decided to leave. So you leave me, I leave you. So I had to find another team. At the time, the Giants were absolutely balling out of control. You know, got 2 whole rings out of the deal, so it wasn't bad. But I'm not a bandwagoner, so I can't join when you're doing good and then fall off just because we have a few ill-advised moves that have not produced in a lot of wins right now.
So how long have you actually been a Giants fan? I mean, was it for the first Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl, third, or fourth?
Um, well, let's just say that I was around in the early Eli Manning years, back when they had Jeremy Shockey, my favorite tight end ever. Uh, back when Jay Feely was not kicking field goals.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's been a minute. The years that started in 19.
Okay. Well, look, Jay Feely is now in the broadcast booth. I believe he's on CBS. Does a phenomenal job for them. Jeremy Shockey, I don't know where he is. We know where Eli Manning is. Eli Manning is actually is a candidate for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's going to get in on the first ballot. Some people seem to think that
Let's
he's
hope
not even
so.
a. Well, I don't know about the first
Stop
ballot.
hating. Stop
No,
hating.
no. It's there's no hate involved whatsoever. I actually like the dude. I mean, I like the dude. I don't particularly care what he did when he engineered to get himself out of San Diego, but I can understand it. No, I'm not an Eli hater. I just I think he's going to get in. I just don't know if he's a first ballot. That's. I'm gonna just leave it there. How about that?
Okay.
Can we do? We can leave it there.
I disagree, but
Well, yeah,
okay.
you're supposed to disagree. That's your man's. But as I was gonna say, he's doing all kind of things with Corona and the I think it's vodka with Carmelo Anthony, and he's got, of course, the Manning cast on Monday Night Football. They're on ESPN, so that's your guy. So I can appreciate that. All right, let's get into why we're here. And the reason why we're here is because I begged you and begged you and begged you for going on 4 years now. You claim you didn't get my text message a while back. But it's all.
It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
That's right. That's your story. You stick to it. So let's get into this. What or how, where, when, and what jump started your love for athletics? Not necessarily from an officiating standpoint, but I'm gonna ask you about that later. But in terms of your love for athletics, where did it all begin for you?
Man, I think I've played sports since probably middle school.
Mhm.
No, probably before that. 4th grade. Yeah. So I've been playing basketball a really long time. So by the time I got to middle school, my high school that was attached to the middle school, I grew up in small private school. They didn't have a girls basketball team. And I wanted to play basketball so much that I convinced my mom to let me go to public school so that I could play basketball. So I've liked sports a really long time. I played basketball and I ran track in high school.
Okay. And so the high school that you went to, what city is that in?
I went to West Torrance High School in Torrance, California.
Torrance. That's not that far from.
It's
Well,
in the
I have an
it's in
idea.
the South Bay. Yeah. So if
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
familiar with Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes, Torrance sits literally in the middle of both of those.
Okay. So that's considered LA County, yes?
It is technically LA County, yeah. We
Okay.
consider it the South Bay, so we're a little bougie
Mhm.
like that.
Right. Yeah. Torrance, California. The reason why I remember Torrance is because of the movie Straight Outta Compton, when the boys were at the studio in Torrance and they got whatever happened to them. So anyway, let me ask you this, because playing against boys, and I know what that's like as far as playing basketball against girls, because man, I remember getting my butt kicked by this one girl. She was my next door neighbor when we first moved to Louisiana from California. And then you think about love and basketball with what Sanaa Lathan did in that movie. Were you that type of a baller? Were you able to just knock fools on their head playing basketball like that?
Let's just say the first step, it's a doozy.
Oh my
I
gosh.
had to. I'm short. I had to get. I'm fast. If you could catch up, good luck.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, being short and being small in stature in a sport that is dominated by people that are usually way taller than you are. And
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to show them who you are, and then they're surprised, and then they ain't surprised no more.
Hey, the
All right,
three ball. It is a great playing field leveler.
yes, it is. Shout out to Steph Curry for completely changing the game and having everybody from the height of 4'5" to 9'5" wanting to shoot 3-pointers at the half court line. All right, some of your favorite all time athletes. What you got?
Oh man, I grew up in LA, so you name top to bottom roster of the Showtime Lakers, and that's it for me. Like, I grew up binge watching Showtime Lakers, so I gotta like it. I do have mad respect for Steph Curry, and what he has been able to do on the basketball court. Um, I'm really an old school basketball fan, so I'm a guard, so the Ray Allens of the world, um, Reggie Miller. I loved Reggie Miller. What he was able to do coming off a screen is literally how I patterned my basketball game. So
Really?
yeah, I
Did you
could come
talk?
off of a screen and just launch it.
Yeah.
I
Could you
learned
talk
that
trash?
from watching, huh?
Could you talk trash the way that Reggie did?
I did not talk trash. It's not my personality. I let my game do the trash talking for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
Mhm. Revenge is okay. I'm not gonna do that. So since you attested or you have testified to the fact that you are an old school fan, sort of.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this very important question.
Sure.
Who's the GOAT? Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
I am offended
Don't be offended.
because
Offense.
neither one
Offense.
of those two are in my book.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Ooh. The late great Kobe Bryant deserves at least an honorable mention in that list of GOATs.
I think a lot of people would put Kobe like at 4th or 5th, depending on
what.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I think that. The reason why I think that is because Kobe, you can't put Kobe, in my opinion, above the person or the player that he is in many people's estimation, to include mine, the second best player at the position of all time. That's Michael Jordan. I think another reason why people may not put Kobe in that upper echelon of the top 2 or 3 is because, yeah, he did win 5 championships, but he lost 2. And I think another thing is he only won. Wait a minute, I'm just telling you what they say. Don't be giving me that look now. I didn't do it. I'm just giving you what they say. And then the final thing is, and I love Kobe Bryant. Don't get me wrong. God rest his soul. And when he passed, it felt like a piece of us went with him. But I think another thing too is the fact that he won only 1 regular season MVP. All the other things that you can say about him, I 100% agree with you. But it's hard to get above Michael Jordan when he's 6-0 and scoring titles and MVPs and finals.
But you can't compare old school basketball with new school basketball. And that's the problem that I have with comparing Michael Jordan with LeBron James. The basketball is not the same. Like, it's just not. Old school basketball, they actually play defense.
Right.
Now, it's debatable. So I don't think it's fair to compare LeBron with Jordan. I just don't. It's way too hard to compare. It's apples and oranges. The game is different. The game is ran different. It hits different. I mean, you grew up the same time that I grew up, and the game is a lot rougher back then.
Of course.
Fair enough?
Fair enough. But
so if you now, I don't think either one of them would do well in each other's time either. I think if you put Jordan playing today, he would probably struggle. A little bit. I mean, because it's not. Oh, so we know who yours is.
Victoria, I hated Michael Jordan. I hated Michael Jordan growing up. I hated him. I was the Pistons fan. Isaiah Thomas is my favorite player of all time.
Oh, so you're just biased.
No.
I am too. It's fine.
No. What I'm saying is that people had that opinion that I just was a Michael Jordan fan because of the stance that I take, and nothing can be further from the truth. I hated that dude. Hated. Hated such a
You just
strong
mad
word.
because he kept beating you.
I mean, they beat us once, and it took them beating us that last. Anyway, I'm not gonna do this with you right now. I think what I was gonna say about that is that there's no way that I think Michael Jordan would
How
struggle in
about Lisa
today's world.
Leslie is the GOAT? How about that?
I'll give you that. Is she better than Diana
Okay.
Taurasi?
Again, you're comparing old school and new school.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. And two different positions. That's tough. Lisa Leslie's the first female to dunk in a game. You can't take that away. Sorry. And I love Diana Taurasi. I do. She's from LA. She's from LA. I get it. But Lisa Leslie's the first dunk in a game. Sorry. She wins by default.
I feel you. I'll let you have that one. All right. So let's talk about your officiating. You say you have been officiating since, well, you didn't say since when. You just discussed about how, yeah. So what was it that caused you to be an official, and what was that journey like, and how did you even get started in terms of the process?
Wow. So I started back in 2003, 2004. And all I wanted to do was sit and keep score on the weekend because I was still playing at the time and I hadn't quite graduated from college yet. So I was tired on the weekend, but I was also broke. So all I wanted to do was sit, get a few dollars in my pocket on the weekend by keeping score. Well, the referees kept not showing up. So my boss, knowing that I played, was like, well, it's either, you get out there and referee these little 9-year-olds, or they're not going to have any game. So you know what a foul is, obviously. So she gave me a used shirt. It was way too big on me. She broke open a brand new whistle and was like, here, just call fouls and violations. Like, don't worry about the signals. Just make sure they don't kill each other. And I kind of had to do that more often than I would have liked to that first year. That's kind of my introduction into refereeing. And her other coworker, who happened to be the one to train all of the referees for that particular city. Shout out to my good friends over in the city of Rancho Cucamonga. He saw me referee one day and he said, "Oh, she's really good. Like, she has a good feel for the game. You want to, actually get trained to referee?" I said no. Refereeing is not on my list of things that I wanted to do. And or B, I was still playing. And besides, I was in school to be a coach. So I wanted to be on the other side of the basketball. We can kind of see how that worked out. I lost.
Yeah.
They convinced me.
Yeah, obviously, because that's been 20 years.
20 years.
That's been 20 years. Wow. And to get to the level that you are now, you're obviously you started out, you said, with 9-year-olds, and now you're at the collegiate level. How does the process kind of work the same as if like you're in a job where you have to get in and you start at the quote unquote bottom and you move your way up to different levels just like you would do in a company? Or is it something that is kind of like, if there's a need for it, which is also kind of what happened for you, is there a need for it at different levels? You're able to translate or bounce from level to level?
It's very similar to a traditional company structure, kind of. Whereas when you're first starting out, you do start near the bottom. After me officiating the little 9-year-olds that one year, the group of athletes that I was able to referee were actually middle school boys.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go from middle school to high school, depending on your talent level, the feel for the game, where you're located, how many officials there are, and currently right now across the entire country, there is a shortage of officials. And so there are some places that they don't have enough. So whether you are prepared for it or not, you get opportunities.
Mm.
In a major metropolitan area like where I live in Dallas, there's a lot of referees. We kind of come a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not get an opportunity nearly as fast if you live in a large city. So it just depends on where you live, your trajectory, depends on how hard you work at your craft. Just like any job, the more you work at it, the more training and development you put in, the better you become faster. So, but it's not
Have,
the same company. So middle
mhm.
school is not the same as college, is not the same as Division One. They're all different companies.
Have you ever officiated anything other than basketball?
I did. I officiated flag football.
Okay.
Never again. It's the
Okay.
weather. I'm an indoor girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold
And
weather got me.
oh, was that in Dallas or was that in Cali?
I was actually in Cali, and the night that it dropped to probably about 50 degrees, the grass was still wet. I'm cold, and I'm looking at a mom underneath a blanket with a heater on, and I said, I'm the stupid one. She's smart.
I thought you were gonna say you saw the mom sitting under the tent with a blanket on with a heater on. I thought you were gonna say you told her to scoot over.
I probably did. I can neither confirm or deny that.
Wow, that's some terrific stuff. So I want to ask you this because this is this question. I think this question is on the tip of a lot of people's minds. And what is the mindset, or what do you say to people when they say these games are rigged and the referees are in on it, or the refereeing's horrible, or it's obvious that X, Y, and Z, or X, Y, or Z has the ref in their pocket? I mean, we see it and we hear it all over the place in every single sport. What is and you can get as mad as you want, or you can keep it as cordial as you want. It's up to you. But I think this is a question that's in the mind of a lot of people, and especially mine. And I remember when we were at church, I said, this is one question I have to ask you. So I want you to just let it go. What goes through your mind? What's your response? What's your rebuttal to people that say these games are rigged and the officials are a part of it?
I am offended. You want to offend a referee fast? Say that nonsense. And it is utter and complete gibberish. Like, look, we're all human. So that means that we're going to make mistakes. And y'all get the eye of God to look at these plays in slow motion 6 times from 18 different angles. Who referees from the eye of God? And y'all know what the eye of God is. It's the camera angle that's directly above the play. Nobody who has that angle. Like, seriously. We literally have one angle, one shot, one look, and they say the average play takes 2.5 seconds. So I dare anybody who says, oh, the game is rigged, to go stand on the inline somewhere in a gym and watch any level of basketball play come at them and have them make a decision that fast. And you let me know how good you are. A lot of referees are fantastic and make great sound decisions, but just because you referee with your heart and not your eyeballs doesn't mean that we're cheating. Yes, we make mistakes. I'll be the first one to admit it. There are some games that it's just bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I didn't get a quite good look at the play. I'm not standing in the right spot. Like, it happens. We're all human. But to say that we are doing it on purpose, nah. Nah. That's so offensive. I can't stand it. I swear that was the source of many an argument in my household. Like, that argument went down. Cause no, we're not cheating. We're not doing this on purpose. We're not calling it, or we're not calling it a certain way just to piss off the player or piss off the coach. Like, I got so much going on in my mind. Me doing this on purpose, I can't even think that fast to be that petty.
Okay, so here's a follow-up question, because the wagering out there is so prevalent.
It is.
Okay, so what was that sigh for? Tell us what the sigh is for.
Man. Like, the betting and it being allowed in the facility, in the gyms.
Oh, wait, what?
You can, your cell phone now is a bookie.
That's true. Yeah,
that's
true.
And the micro bets of, what's the next, this particular player, are they going to shoot a three? Or are they going to score a layup? Are they going to get fouled? And you can bet on that stuff. And when it doesn't go their way and they lose money because, let's say, we call an illegal screen and have to wipe off the three that you just bet that they made and the three goes in, you're not mad because the play is wrong. You're mad because you lost money because you bet and it didn't go your way. And so instead of a lot of people not being self-aware enough to say, well, that sucks, right? They take it out on the referee, and then we become the bad guy and we become the scapegoat for you losing money on a particular play because you didn't want us to call the illegal screen and wanted her to make the three so you could have made your $5 or whatever. So
right.
That's the new face, unfortunately, of college basketball and the betting. And it doesn't only affect referees, but it affects players too. Like, can you imagine a grown adult sitting in a stadium somewhere berating a young athlete, male or female, who's 18, 17, 18, just literally just trying to play basketball? And these adults are putting up rent money based upon whether or not they can score a three in a game. And so those players are catching it too. They're catching the heat from these individuals who are now placing these bets, and not just the over under like, when we grew up, but now these micro bets. And so they miss a layup. Now all of a sudden they're horrible and they mama this and they mama that, and I'm gonna come find you. I don't think it's right for either of the people, That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and we went from the funny to the serious, and I had no idea that we were going. Yeah, and I had no idea that we were going there, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because at the end of the day, is number one, it's just a game, and I'm not a gambler. I don't advocate for gambling, but if that's that type, if an individual wants to do that, that's their choice. But I look at it like this. Number one, I work too hard to make the little pennies that I make, and I ain't trying to throw it out there and throw it away on relying on somebody else's ability, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
As a college student, yeah, I played pool and it was like a third job, and I could bet on my own ability. But to say that I'm gonna bet on some kid who may or may not be point shaving, who knows? So I get that. What's the worst thing a player or coach has said to you that has gotten them kicked out of a game?
Wow, you want me to repeat that?
Back to the funny again. You can say as much or as little as you want.
Wow. I think the worst thing that has ever been said to me as a referee, a male coach happened to ask me if I was on my cycle that day.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't stay, but yeah, that was probably the worst.
So was that the first tech you threw at him, or was that a combined 2 techs?
I don't even know what I did. I think I probably blacked out. I just know that I stopped mid-stride, turned around, and said, "What did you say?" And he just didn't stay in the game. Can neither confirm or deny my next moves or not.
Right. And so, do you have a quick trigger, or do you give him a little rope? Just depends.
I'm a field of landmines. Some things don't bother me, and like, okay, whatever. And then other things, it's like, okay, yeah, you're getting your head blown off. It just depends. I try to be. I'm very fair. Like,
Yeah.
There's nothing that I think that I have had to, as a referee, that I've had to adjudicate, especially when it comes to behavior, that I think anybody would say, "Oh, she was overreacting." It was kind of like, well, you kind of put yourself in that spot. So I wouldn't say that I'm quick triggered necessarily. I tend to give people a chance to retract whatever foolishness tends to come out of their mouth that they probably didn't say.
That's awesome. and I look, this is turning funner and funner, and all this means, because I got so many questions that are popping up in my head. All this means, Victoria, is that you cannot make me wait another 3 years before you come back on the show. That's all that means. But I wanted to ask this one other thing about refereeing, and then we'll get to everything that you have going on in regards to your book and everything surrounding the field and the art and science of being an official. And then we got some social media comments. As a matter of fact, somebody's asking a direct question to you that we'll get to in just a second.
Sure.
When you know how it is when you're a player, an athlete, no matter what sport, and the team or that team walks into the gym or onto the field, and the crowd or the other team is saying, "Oh man, there goes such and such." Do referees get that type of treatment too?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Our world is very small.
Yeah.
And so we do have stars. There's a couple of referees in my mind that are like, oh, I get the little heart faces. Like, yeah. So yeah, I'm a fan of a few.
Okay. And it's a thankless job. We know that. It's there. The officiating or the officials in whatever sport, they're not celebrated only until either the home team or the visiting team gets the call or doesn't get the call. But there's no parade being thrown for the officials. There's no tearing down of the nets and putting it around the official's neck before they actually walk out as a celebratory type of thing. Like the Alabama Vanderbilt game this past Saturday, when Vanderbilt tore down the goalpost and took it and threw it in the Tennessee River. I think it's the Tennessee River in Nashville. So we we understand that there's no fanfare like that. And I'm telling you, it's like being a claims adjuster. You got to be able to have a special type of personality to be able to do that. And I commend you for everything that you have done. All right, let's get to it. I
don't think I have ever been likened to a claims adjuster before in my life. That one's new.
All right, so let's get to the book. The book, of course, is a referee's devotional. When did the process of the book begin? What was the motivating factor behind the project and getting it out?
So funny enough, I was sitting in church the Sunday that Pastor T was talking about her son creating a devotion for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought how wonderful it was of him and how awesome it is for athletes to have a devotional book that is for them to help them work through all of the ins and outs, ups and downs of the season as an athlete. And I reflected on the fact that there are devotions for coaches, for dads, moms, leaders, business owners. I have not found a devotional for referees. And we just talked about how hard it is to be a referee. And there was nothing spiritually to help referees. I just found that to be awful. And you and I both know how God works. He makes you aware of a situation and then tells you to go solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought in my mind I was going to get some of my Christian officials to help me out writing this book, and God had other plans. He said, "No, you're going to go ahead and write all 27 of them." So I got started. It took me a while. I had a good friend of mine whom I shared with her what I was doing, and she connected me to a writer and a publishing company who really helped guided me through the whole process. So I started this summer, and took me about maybe a month and a half to write all 27 devotions. And then from there, it just kind of rolled after that.
And the book can be found fill in blank.
Amazon, baby, Amazon.
Yes.
It is in both ebook. It is in both ebook and in paperback. So for those people who want paper in their hand, there is for that. And then there's other folks who would prefer it to be digital or on their phone. They can purchase the ebook as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think in today's society that it's probably important to have it on multiple ways in which it can be consumed, for the lack of a better word. I actually like that word in this context. I don't think it's that bad. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Here we go. There it is right there. And you have to excuse the stuff on the left because I pulled it from my photos, but I wanted to make sure that I had at least the cover on it on here. Calling the Game with God, 27 devotionals for faith-filled officiating. And understandably that will be really critical, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and cats, dogs, and amphibians, and chickens and ducks, and all that is important based on what Victoria has shared with us with some of the challenges that she faces as an official, that you remain steadfast in your devotional. I think it's a terrific idea. I have not gotten my hand on the book yet, but I will, if nothing else, but to support the cause and support your vision. I think it's a terrific thing that you're bringing God into that realm of sports, like you said, hadn't been tapped into. So that in itself is awesome.
when you can get a copy. So at church, the last Sunday in October, when we do Women's Day, I will have my books for sale after church.
Sweet.
And I'll even sign yours. Of course.
Oh, yes.
You didn't even have to ask.
I sure was about to. Well, what I was going to ask is if it was going to be a book signing event at the church, or so it's just
Yeah, okay. Pastor T is she's gonna let me do it.
That's awesome. And she actually, I don't know if she's watching, but she knows that you're on the show today.
Shout out to Pastor T. I love her.
And she said the same thing. She said, "I'm so proud of her," in a Facebook in a Facebook message or a Facebook post from earlier today or last night or whenever it was that I did it. Okay, moving right along because we only got like 15 minutes left to go, and I want you to talk about S.H.E. officiating. Who is she?
Who is
What is she
she?
doing? What is she doing? How is she doing?
She is fantastic. Actually, I'm glad she is glad you asked. So she actually stands for Stripes Humbly Excelling. So it's kind of a take on words. It is a community for female and officials who aspire and or are currently officiating basketball. And so get a lot of questions about, is it only for females? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, during the year, I do keep it to be females only. We do talk about the intricacies of officiating as a female. And I know that there are guys that don't necessarily want to sit in those meetings and hear those conversations, as it wouldn't apply to them. We do have a brother organization in Texas called We Got Next, that a very good friend of mine runs for males. And then during the summer, when we do training, on the court training, I open that up for anybody, males, females. It doesn't matter at that point, because everybody can learn to officiate on the court and develop their craft on the court. So during this season, we mainly talk about how to survive the officiating game as a female. During the summer, when we actually put in the work of the craft, then we open it up to males and females. So that is
That's
what
awesome.
she is doing.
And again, you said Stripes.
Humbly excelling.
Wow. I grow more and more. You know what? They always say that you have to surround yourself with people that's smarter than you. And I definitely have done that today. For real.
I do that as well.
Yeah, it's this is an incredible story that you have told. And we've known each other for, I would say, some years now, but I never would have imagined that all of this was behind the scenes for you. And now when I see you on Sunday, I got to make up my mind on how I'm going to approach you. Am I going to say something that's going to get me thrown out of the church? Or
that is not in my jurisdiction, sir. It's not in my purview. Sorry.
All right. Okay, fair enough. All right, here we go with some comments. My main man Ben says, "What up, Shake Back fam?" Of course, he is the founding person of the Mafia Members podcast that you can catch right here on the media group. His show is on Tuesdays. Of course, he's a Bills fan. Herman Raj. Willie said that I am his favorite person ever. Said no one. I don't know what's in your Kool-Aid, sir. But actually, I may have said
at least
that.
One person.
I may have said that at one point. So I'm not gonna totally discount what he's saying. And then Ben says MJ is the GOAT. LeBron is the better basketball player. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I will say that he's probably the better athlete, maybe not the better player, because there's a lot of things that go into being the better player. Let me get your quick take on that, Victoria. What about what Ben said? He says
again, when you know what, if I played right now, I would be the better athlete, because they don't let you push and bump and grind and hold, and the game is a lot different, and there's a lot more freedom of movement and free play in the game today. So, hey, MJ played right now and he didn't get pushed and shoved around. Now he might not be able to make that one little move he did to hit that three, but he would also probably look like the better athlete.
Right. And then Ben says, I'm just getting into basketball refereeing myself in Canada, FIBA. Can you explain the difference and or the importance of the difference between fouls and violations?
So when you have a foul, you only get 5 or 6 of those, depending on the league that you're working in that night. So fouls are a lot more costly. Violations, all they do is, cause a turnover for your team. And there are an unlimited amount of violations. So though it may cause a turnover, it's not nearly as costly to you as the player. Either way, fouls or violations, all referees should understand the impact of their whistle on the game. So understand what the rule is, what it says, how it fits in the game. And then if it's appropriate, then you whistle the foul or the violation.
And you can do so without being accused of the game being rigged, Ben. So
that part. It's just you know what? Our wonderful leader, fearless leader in our NCAA, she says it's not personal, it's just a cause to an action.
Right. And usually the cause is a cause and effect. Because you did this, I had to do that. All right.
Yeah,
one other
that's what
comment.
they pay me the money to do.
Yeah. One other comment here. Her name is, I can support that LeBron is the better athlete. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. And that's a whole nother show for a whole nother day. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to do that right now. All right, Victoria, social media info. How can people follow you, see you, holler at you, kick it with you, whatever? Well, not necessarily kick it with you, but you know what I mean.
I ain't got time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So S.H.E Basketball is on Instagram at S.H.E Officiating on Instagram. The book. So I have created, because of the book and its popularity now, I had to create its own Instagram. So that is Shining Wisdom 516 on Instagram.
All right, Ben. I will put that in our chat. So if you have any questions for Victoria, you can follow her on Instagram at those 2 pages. I'm sure she'll accept the DM because it's business related. Don't be out there trying to holler at my sister. No, I'm just playing with you. I'm just messing with you. I know you got that.
I'm gonna send you after him. I'm gonna send you to go get him.
Right. So yeah, Ben, I'll send you that information at some point during the week, and that way you can see what else can be done. I don't know I guess the rules will be the same or similar that they are in Canada that they are in the US.
FIBA is a little different. Not terribly different. The fundamentals are still the same. But some of FIBA's rules and their philosophies are a little different than American basketball. But
Sweet.
Hey,
it is there.
I have good friends that officiate from Canada as well. So
there you go, Ben. You have made a networking connection. I'll take my referral fee in Bitcoin. No, I'm just joking. All right. So before we get out of here, last or final thoughts, and I usually reserve this for what you just did, but I need you as a woman of faith, a referee of faith, an official of faith, a person of faith, to leave some encouragement for the people that's watching and ultimately will be listening on iTunes, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast materials. Leave us some words of encouragement, Victoria.
How about I give you a little bit of the book? How about that?
Oh, a tease. Come on with the tease.
Of course. Of course. And, because you asked me for something that is encouraging. Um, and I will say that one of the things that encourages me um, when I'm officiating is the fact that no matter what I'm going through, God actually listens to my prayers and He hears me. So I'm going to read a section of the book entitled He Hears You. It is one of the chapters in the book. And it is the verse for this particular devotion is Psalms 34:4. And I'm going to read it from the Passion Translation. And it says, "Listen to my testimony. I cried to God in my distress, and He answered me. He freed me from all of my fears." I know God watches over referees because we have been through some dangerous, life-threatening, and scary situations. If you ever want to know that there is a God, He watches over His own. Sit in a locker room full of referees and ask for a story about travel. Ask for a story about a time when they knew that the ending of a particular situation was nothing but God. I have heard stories of a passenger on a flight dying and being brought back to life, praying while driving through blizzards, torrential rain, and ice, or being injured or sick in a game, and the miraculous response by others that allowed them to make it through. There are few things that strengthen my faith more than sharing testimonies. These are the records of God's faithfulness, love, compassion, and power. In Psalms 34:4, David tells the people, if you don't know for yourself how God works, listen to my story. I was in a bad place when I cried out to God. He heard and He answered me. So God hears us. When you find yourself in a scary or dark place, remember the testimonies of others, or maybe even your own testimony. Pray and rest assured that God hears you and will answer your prayers. May God add a blessing to the reading of His word.
Yes. Amen. And let the hearers let us
That's
be
my time, and I thank you for yours.
right. That might be, we might get sued for that. I'm just joking because I've said that before. But I want to say, McGill. Yes, we do love you guys, and I think well, I shouldn't say I think, I know that they are a big reason why this conversation between me and Victoria is even happening today. That's some powerful stuff, and that's a whole another show. But what I will say is this, is that it doesn't matter to God in terms of your prayer to Him what you think about yourself. What matters to God, and what I mean when I say that is because a lot of us have self-esteem issues. A lot of us have belonging or feeling not included. We have those issues. So it doesn't matter to God where you are in your thought of yourself when it comes to that. The only thing that God wants to do is hear from you. He wants to hear you. He wants to hear from you honestly and real and authentically. And everything that Victoria just read was just that. And with that being said, you know what? It's time for us to go. So I want to thank Victoria again for hearing my cry last 4 years. And we're gonna get out of here. I'll take care of it. I'll hug each other. We're gonna have
the basement takes a scientific nation to fail. Blind communities, they read it in braille. Politicians with the skin and scales, pigtails, sending soldiers and shipped and sailing sunken city divers and trails. Down below, search for survivors, there's no people for several miles. Desert towns surround ground zero. Reach down, holding a needle, read the numbers on the needle.